Hey, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Ayla, also known as AKA. I'm very excited, as you can see. I'm very happy today because I have not had a Macca's in a while, and if you know me, I do love myself a McDonald's meal, and I have not indulged in this for a while. I've been trying to be healthy. It's not going too well for the last couple of weeks, but we move. I will get back on track. Monday, it's Friday today, maybe Monday. Always love, you know, a new week for that kind of thing. Anyway, today I thought I would get myself some McDonald's, do a bit of a mukbang. I really don't know how you say it at all, so I apologize for that. And answer some questions. I did ask on my Instagram whether you wanted me to just chat some shit or answer some actual questions, and the majority of people wanted me to actually answer some questions, which is fair enough. I hope this ends up being interesting. Anyway, let me tell you what I got first. I did go a bit all out. I don't usually order this much. I definitely will not eat it all. The straw's in the bag. The straw's in the bag. I got my own straw because I thought I'm not going to get a straw. So I have my own straw, and they put one in the bag anyway. First up on the list, this is what made me want to have McDonald's for so long, because they've been advertising the new mayo chicken burger like everywhere. And I've just been like, I love mayo, I love chicken, I love McDonald's, and the combination of the three is just... So I'm excited to try that. I also got a double cheeseburger, just a fan favorite. I first fell in love with these when I went to China, and for some reason they tasted different there. They were way better, and I have been obsessed with double cheeseburgers over cheeseburgers ever since. There's just nothing that compares to a double cheeseburger. I got myself some nuggets as well, because I cannot turn down some nuggets with sweet and sour sauce, of course. Sweet and sour sauce, you cannot go past it. And just some fries, which are now cold because I walked 20 minutes to get these. Anyway, we move. I also got a McFlurry, which I shall leave in the fridge for now. I did get a Smarties McFlurry. I'm going to leave this in the fridge so it stays nice and cold. But I will leave that in the fridge so it stays nice and cold throughout the duration of this video. Anyway, where did I start with? I'm so excited. I've never done an eating video before, so apologies in advance if I'm chewing, talking, chewing all at the same time. I'm hopefully far enough away that you will not have to worry. So this is the mayo chicken burger. It looks very unflattering, very dry, very flat. Very dry. But you know what, that's fine. Double cheeseburger, we got chicken nuggets. Oh my gosh, just so much good food. I'm obsessed. All right, let's have a look what questions we have. Okie dokie, first question on the list. Oh frick, I should have prepared for this. Somebody asked my favorite designer from each decade. That would take me forever to figure out and go through because I love too many people. I'm just going to tell you my favorite designer of all time, which is Alexander McQueen. That is no secret. I read everything about him. I watch everything about him. I'm obsessed with him. But Alexander McQueen would be my all-time favorite designer. I would really have to prepare for favorite design from each decade, but maybe that can be another full video in itself. Maybe do I just film a whole nother video on that? I think so. Another friend asked if you could live anywhere other than Australia and London, where would you live? I've had an answer for this question for so long, and we've been talking about it more recently. The prospect of living in Japan one day. I would really love to live in Japan and Tokyo. Living in Japan would be just an absolute dream. If it wasn't, I would have said New York originally. That would be definitely a dream, but I just think with the state of America right now, I wouldn't love to be there. But obviously the whole world is a bit screwed up at the minute, so you know, I guess anywhere you go it's going to be a bit screwed up, but I just feel like Japan is just a bit of a nicer atmosphere at the minute. So my answer to that question is Japan. Somebody else asked, what is your absolute dream goal? No, my absolute dream goal. Excuse me while I pick the pickles off my burger. Are you a pickles eater? I'm definitely not. My absolute dream goal would be being a fashion designer. I've got these things called BHAGs, which my mum taught me. It's like a goal setting tactic, and they're like your big, hairy, audacious goals. And my three, so I have three, I'll tell you what is my three absolute dream goals. Number one is to own my own global fashion brand and design for that. I would also love to design for other global fashion brands as well, kind of like what Alexander McQueen did. So I would love to design for big brands as well as my own brand, but the main goal is definitely owning my own brand and designing for my own brand. I'm trying not to be rude and talk with my mouth full, which is exactly what I'm doing now, but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. So yes, that would be number one. Owning my own brand, designing for my own brand, successful brand, as well as designing for other global brands would be my absolute number one goal. Just being like a known designer, like you say, oh, this brand, Dior, you know them, Louis Vuitton, you know them. I want me to be one of those designers, you know. My second goal on that list is to own a place. It's kind of hard to describe, but like my ultimate goal would be to get to a level of success where I can funnel money from my success into kind of like a camp. I don't really know how to describe it. Like a camp where basically there would be scouts kind of that would go to disadvantaged communities and find kids that are slightly interested in, like, whether it's art or design or graphics, I don't know, all of these different creative industries, and if they even show the slightest bit of interest in it, bringing kids from these disadvantaged communities, putting them in a camp for like whether it's a month or like a few weeks or whatever, and just having the tools there. So there will be photography studios, design studios, graphic design studios, film cameras, you know, all of these different things. So whether they want to model or be a photographer or design or just whatever they're interested in, I want to put them into an environment where they have the tools to see if they have the talent to do that sort of thing, or see if they are even interested in doing that thing. There would be mentors there that after they leave the camp would continue to look after them, and hopefully that way, you know, some more unique talent could be found, because when you really think about talent in the creative industries, it mostly, I wouldn't say all, but it mostly comes from a place of privilege. It's very true. There are certain designers that build themselves from the ground up, but I think that a lot of kids, when they're not even given the opportunity to know if they like doing anything creative, would go down just like a really traditional career path. And I feel like if you give some kids that don't even realize that there's these opportunities out there, the opportunity to realize they like doing that thing, it might spark something creatively in them, and then they would go on to enter the creative industries and that sort of thing. I would just love to like nurture interest in creative industries. So that's kind of like the idea. And then the third thing would be to like build and flip houses with my dad. I'm really interested in building, design, interior design, architecture, all of these different things. And my dad is a carpenter by trade, and I would just love to go into business with him. He's built houses before, he's flipped houses before, but one day I would love to go into business with him doing that together. So in terms of like the ultimate things that I could do that would make me happy, I'm already happy, but like my ultimate three goals, that would be them. Number one would definitely be being a designer. If I could scratch everything else, it would be being a designer. That's like my number one thing. But definitely the other things as well. They're like my top three like ultimate goals of life. Oh my god, I've already been filming this so long. Okay, who do you get your style inspiration from? Oh, that's so tricky. think the main thing for anybody at the moment is social media. Like, it just depends who you follow, it depends who happens to come onto your explore page and who happens to come, you know, into your life. There's a few Australian influencers I'm a big fan of at the moment. Maxine Wild, Tara Chandra, Elle as well, so Elle and Tara, they have the account together. But there's honestly so many all over the world. Like, I feel like for anybody at the moment, social media is like your #1 source of like inspiration, because it's just in our faces all the time, and especially being in lockdown for like the last year, it's not like we're always out on the street with all of these interesting people. So mainly would just be those few influencers at the moment. I would say that there isn't like one singular person that I get style inspiration from. I would say the main thing that gives me style inspiration is like this need that I have to stand out and to not just blend in. Like, my ultimate fear is just like blending into a crowd, which I know I do look very typical and it's likely to happen. But I think in terms of my main style inspiration, it would just be, oh my god, I almost spilled sauce all over myself. It would just be standing out against what nearly everybody wears. So yeah, I would say I don't really have one sole style icon. There's definitely a lot of people that influence me. A lot of things influence me too, just like shapes and colors. Like, I might watch a film and see a color combination and be like, oh my gosh, stunning, I want to wear something like that or design something like that. Or I might just walk past somebody on the street. But I think a lot of it comes from social media at the moment, because I spend just too much time on it. So, somebody asked what made me choose England. So, the main thing that made me choose England was I wanted to go somewhere that's like a fashion capital, which is why I chose London specifically. I wanted to go somewhere that was like a fashion capital. You know, visas obviously come into it, so like, you know, when looking at somewhere like New York, visas are a lot harder for America than they are for the UK for Australians. So I had a look at that, but I guess another one of the main things is my partner is English. Even though he's lived in Australia most of his life, he is English. And so obviously moving out of home for the first time and moving so far away from home, when moving out of home for the first time, I wanted to move somewhere where there would be at least some support. I have some family here, Will has family here, so we know that we're, you know, going to be okay, sort of thing. So I guess that would be the main things, but really it was always London for me. It was always I wanted to move to London, so that was really the main influence, was just London. In terms of moving to England, I haven't even had a nugget yet. I keep kind of forgetting that there's food here because I'm just talking. I just really enjoy talking, you know. Hope this video isn't boring. Okay, somebody asked, if you knew you couldn't fail, what is something you would love to try? I don't know, maybe being like a sports person. I fail at sports all the time and being fit all the time, so maybe I'd want to be like a super fit person. Like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna get an Olympic medal. Although I have no interest in that, so I don't know why that would be my answer. I'm literally eating McDonald's talking about how if I couldn't fail, I would do sport. Highly unlikely. I could just be a designer, really. I mean, like, I come back to that every time, but that's like my ultimate goal, so if I knew I couldn't fail, I would do that, but I'm doing that anyway. Is that a boring answer? Maybe YouTube. Again, I'm doing this anyway, but if I knew I couldn't fail and like not gain subscribers, maybe. But I'm doing that anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh god. I don't have a very good answer for that, I'm really sorry. I really do not have a very good answer for that. Okay, my next question is, what got you into making your own clothes? Ooh, I did home ec in high school. And before doing that, I had no interest in design or textiles or sewing or anything like that. Before that, I had no interest. The main thing that got me interested in continuing making my own clothes, I really did home ec because you had to choose either cooking or like home ec sewing, and I hate cooking, so I chose sewing and then ended up falling in love with it. So really, in terms of what got me into it was just the fact that I didn't like cooking, so I chose sewing instead. But what's kept me interested in it is just the fact that you can be as creative as you want, you can make whatever you want. It's really hard as well, so it's not like it's just an easy thing, you can just whip up some clothes. It's really hard, but I just love the limitless creative outcomes that are possible. I also think as well, another point, is when you can make your own clothes, if you're like thinking, oh, I have this really cool outfit in my head, but I don't have this shirt, I just want this specific shirt, you have to like look online, you have to try and find it, it might be expensive. If you know how to make your own clothes, you can literally be like, go buy the fabric, figure out the pattern, and make it myself. Do you know what I mean? It is just, honestly, it makes your wardrobe so exciting and interesting. The other thing that I love about making my own clothes is there was this one pair of pants that I made in high school, and they were a little bit more basic than like my usual style, but anytime I wore them anywhere, shopkeepers, random people walking past me would stop me. Like if somebody was helping me in a store, they'd be like, look, I'm really sorry, I know I'm helping you, but like, where did you get your pants? I love them. And I would get asked that all the time, like literally every single time I wore these pants, I would get asked where they were from. And that feeling of being like, I made them myself, and people being like, what? Is so good. It's just such a good feeling. Like it is a bit of like an ego thing, but it is such a good feeling to just be like, I made it myself. It's like one of a kind, you can't get it, but like I can make you some if you want to pay me. So I think there's a few reasons. Just you can fill gaps in your own wardrobe. If there's something you want and it's really expensive, you can recreate it. Although I will say with that, not if it comes from a small business. Like, you know, if you see Louis Vuitton making a top and they're selling it for like £600 or something ridiculous like they do, just go and make it yourself. That's not going to affect that company. Do you know what I mean? Like the amount of bootleg shops that there are, those companies are still running. Whereas if there's a small business and they make a particular item that you really like and it's expensive because obviously they have to pay for materials and shipping and everything like this, it ends up being really expensive, then you're kind of hurting somebody's livelihood. Do you know what I mean? So I would never recommend recreating things from small businesses. But if you saw a Dior t-shirt or a Dior dress that you really liked, honestly, go ahead and recreate it. It's not going to hurt them. If I end up having a big brand one day, if I literally end up being one of these big designers one day, I should not say if, when, we're manifesting here. When that happens, if I'm selling shirts for £400, just go and make it yourself if you can't afford it. I honestly would not care. But it's when there's like smaller designers that literally put their life into everything that they do, and it would really hurt them if you made it yourself. You know, they would be really losing out there. So that's what I would say. You can fill gaps in your wardrobe, you can recreate things that you can't afford, you can just have this really good feeling of like, if somebody asks you where you got your outfit, you can be like, I made it, it's my own original designs, you know. And you get to have something in your wardrobe that nobody else has, even if it's similar or anything like that. Having something that you made is really a really good feeling. Somebody asked, how much are you loving the UK? What are you and your partner studying, working? So I am loving the UK as a whole. It has been a difficult road because of lockdown and coronavirus and everything like that. It hasn't gone how we would have planned it, is what I would say. But overall, I love the country. I love London. Actually, I haven't seen any of the rest of the country, so I really can't say the UK. I can say I love London. I love London. I want to live here in the future, definitely. What are you and your partner studying, working? Both of us are just working retail at the moment because of the pandemic, but we both love what we do, so that's what I would say there. As well as, you know, doing our own things on the side, such as YouTube, designing, making films and this sort of thing as well. So we're doing our own thing and then we're working other amazing jobs as well. So that's what I would say there. Obviously can't say where I work or what I do or anything like that, but I just work retail. We just both work retail, but we love our jobs. Okay, my best friend Renee, love you, she asked, how do you find your style? How did you find your style? I think again it just really came from the desire to stand out. I think during high school I was making so much of an effort to blend in, just because of that whole high school like dynamic, you know? I don't know why I have this such like intense thing of like not wanting to blend in with the crowd, or at least like if I do blend into the crowd, don't know, looking interesting and like exciting. I'm not really too sure, but I just have this like natural instinct to not fit in, and I think it's just always been really important to me. So I think where my style really started to change was when I left school and I wasn't confined to these like things anymore, because in school, especially going to a private school, you have to look the same as everyone else. Your hair can't be certain colours, you can't dye it, you're not allowed to wear makeup, you can't have eyelashes, you can't like wear different clothes, like you have to have the correct uniform which has to go to your knees and all of this bullshit. Anyway, I just had this constant thing in high school of like wanting to fit in, because obviously as I've realized now, but I didn't know then, that I had anxiety, and I think that was like this just constant want to hide, like I just want to hide myself. So coming out of that and realizing that's not what I want to do anymore, and I want to, you know, I want to stand out and I want to be my own person and all these different things, was when I dyed my hair bubblegum pink, was when I was wearing like a giant bubblegum pink tracksuit everywhere, which by the way I loved. That was such a time of my life. But yeah, I think my style constantly changes as well. It changes obviously with trends, because you always have some inkling of wanting to go with trends. It changes with what people are wearing, because if I'm wearing something all the time and then if people start to like, if it becomes a trend and people are wearing that thing, I don't want to wear that thing anymore. It's so bad, but I don't. So yeah, I think my style just developed from this desire to like not fit in and just wanting to be different basically. I also wouldn't say I've found my style, I would say my style changes all the time. And I think what my ideal style is in my head, I can't afford it. So there's a lot of things that I wish I could wear that I cannot afford, which means you just have to work within your budget, you know what I mean? But yes. The next question is, the thing you miss most about living in Australia? Number one, obviously my family. I miss my family, I miss Will's family, I miss my dogs, I miss my friends back there. That would be number one. Number two would probably be, this is going to sound really ridiculous, but like safety. I don't know, it's not unsafe here, but compared to Australia, there's a lot more crazy people running around. There's a lot more drunk people running around. You've always got to kind of have your wits about you. It's not like it's a dangerous city, but like you're aware of certain areas that are unsafe, which is the same as Australia too. But I guess I come from a very sheltered area. Like the Gold Coast is a very safe area. It's coastal, you know, and all of these different things. So I am very privileged in that way. So then coming from somewhere like that to somewhere like here, London is not a bad place at all, but I definitely feel like I'm more anxious here in terms of like having my wits about me. So that would be that. You get catcalled a lot, which happens everywhere I guess, but in a big city as well, there's always going to be more crime, there's always going to be more things happening. So that would be the second thing. I'm always very hyper aware of things happening, but I think that's also due to anxiety, so I wouldn't blame that on London. I would blame that on me. But I think in Australia I was never worried about that. The third thing I would say is driving. I really love to drive, and I don't drive here because the roads are quite busy. Also, you don't really need to. Like if you're just working in the city, you just jump on the tube or jump on a bus, and that sort of thing as well. You don't need a car genuinely, unless you need it for your job or something like that. So I would say I miss like having a car where I can just go drive somewhere, or if I like want to just go for a drive, I can just go for a drive. I miss that for sure. One question was, how was the move to London as COVID first started? I'm actually going to answer this in a separate video in more detail, because I do want to do like a story time moving to the UK right before coronavirus, and if you're interested in that, please let me know below, because I would love to do that video. it's a bit of a long story, but I guess it's just been difficult. I would say it's been a roller coaster, it's been difficult, it's been emotional, it has been testing mentally, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And Will said to me the other day, like, if you could just like reverse it and go back and move, you know, a year earlier and then move back then, or, you know, just reverse it and not move here at all, would I? And I said no, because like, in terms of the amount that I've changed in the last year as a person and creatively, like, before I left Australia, I was working 6 days a week. I wasn't designing, I wasn't being creative, I wasn't doing YouTube, I wasn't embracing myself, you know, all of these different things. So I definitely would not take it back, because I've grown a lot in the last year in terms of setting personal boundaries as well, realizing things mentally about myself, and so many different things. I just want to take it back. Like, also, I've moved in like with my partner and my best friend. I would never take that back. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. No emotions. Anyway, it's a long story. I will do a proper video story time on that if you want it. Please let me know if you do, because I would really love to film that video. I've eaten like none of this burger because it just wasn't very nice. This chicken mayo burger. Will can eat it when I'm done. He's literally in the room waiting for me to finish it so he can eat the rest of it. But I've actually done alright, you know. And then the last question was, do you miss Australia? Yes, I do. I would say I miss things about Australia, but I also know that as soon as I go back, I'm gonna really strongly miss London. Like, I can just already foreshadow how deeply I'm going to miss this place. I think I wouldn't miss Australia so much had this have been a normal experience moving overseas. Like, you know, if coronavirus hadn't happened, if lockdown hadn't happened, all of these different things didn't happen, I probably wouldn't miss Australia as much as I do. I think the only reason I miss it at the moment is just freedom, which we don't have here right now. So yeah, I would say that is the only reason. Obviously I miss my family and everything like that, but in terms of like missing living in Australia, I don't think I would as much if lockdown and coronavirus and all of these things hadn't happened. I really genuinely think I would just be living my life, living up my life right now. Super happy, which I am super happy, but you know, it's been difficult. So I definitely miss Australia. I miss the freedom, I miss driving, I miss my family, but I wouldn't change anything that's happened for the world. So I do miss it definitely, but I think I wouldn't miss it so much if we hadn't been in lockdown for the past year. Oh, the pain. I'm pretty much done with the food aspect. Haven't finished the mayo burger. There's pretty much still a whole burger there. I took one bite. Will can eat that. There's a tiny little bit of my double cheeseburger left. 2 nuggets. There's actually a lot of fries, mainly because they were cold by the time I got home. It was not really nice to eat. And then my drink, of course. I'm gonna have my ice cream, which I'm so excited to eat. I wanted to mention quickly, I'm getting a tattoo soon. I'm so excited. I'm basically getting, so this tattoo that I have here, I'm getting the rest of my shoulder and half arm done. So I'm basically gonna have a sleeve to the middle of my arm, which I'm so excited about. I literally cannot wait. So that's happening once lockdown lifts, which fingers crossed happens in April. At the moment it's April 12th that tattoo shops will be able to open and that I will go back to work properly as well. So fingers crossed. So why I mention that is because let me know if you want a video on my current tattoos. I have 4 so far. Their meaning, what they are, close-ups, all that type of thing. And then my plan for the future for tattoos, as well as if you want like a vlog and everything when I get this done. It is 2 full day sessions, 2 8-hour sessions. So if you want to see that, let me know. I'm gonna be in a lot of pain, so you might love it. Anyway, I'm going to finish the video there and I'm going to go eat my ice cream. Will can finish all of this food off. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the topics I talked about anyway. I hope it was enjoyable to watch. If you did enjoy it, please like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if you want to see the tattoo video. Let me know if you want to see the story time about me moving to the UK. I feel like that would be a really good video to do actually. I definitely might. I might even just film that today, just get it over and done with. But yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.